What was your message to the team?
Obviously proud of the work they've done this year. Wasn't good enough. The only team that's going to be happy is the team to win the Super Bowl. To start the little things right starts with the off season. Once they come back from break, we got to build it up from ground zero once again. You know, a lot of guys in that room, free agents. Be lying if we say we're going to keep everybody or everybody's going to stay for whatever reason. It's going to be turnover. So when they come back, just understand we're starting from ground zero. We got to do the little things right to start the season all over again. We're not going to pick up where we left off. And you know, proud of the effort, proud of the organization, the people in the building, from the general manager to the scouting department, equipment, trainers, everybody, nutritionists, the whole gang. We just got to do a better job coaching, better job playing, making plays at the little time, coaching it right the best time, and, you know, just come back with a chip on our shoulders.
What area would you like to see, or what areas would you like to see get better?
Right now, all areas. As I dive into it, we haven't dived into the off season yet, but I can name a myriad of things, and it'd be too long a list to go into right now. But whatever it takes to get us to the next step.
What's at the top of your list?
Like I said, I don't have a top of the list. I'm still fresh off the loss right now. There's a lot of things I can single out, but I wouldn't say they were the top of the list until I sat down and really charted them and looked at them. And once the weeks go on, we'll start to get the hold of that and see what we want to do.
Todd, Antoine Winfield, I understand he was injured. He didn't have near the impact that he's had in years past, what people have come to expect. What happened? Were you using him differently and it diluted him? Or what were some of his issues other than injuries that he didn't have that impact as he had in the past?
Well, injuries was his issue. You know, he missed 4 weeks to start out, and he came back. He wasn't completely healthy, then he got hurt again. So a healthy Winfield leads to healthy plays.
Was he ever 100% after week 1?
I couldn't answer that personally, but I would venture to say I'm sure everybody played hurt a lot, but when he's healthy, you can see it. I think once he got healthy, he got injured again, so it kind of impacted a little bit.
Todd, when you look at the secondary, the pass defense ranks, I believe, 30th or 31st in the league in terms of yards allowed. Only 6 interceptions from your secondary. Are you contemplating any coaching changes on that side of the ball?
Not thinking about that right now. Again, we're having exit interviews. We're fresh off the loss. As the days come, we'll go from there. We went to the playoffs 5 times with the defensive coaches we have. So they're very good coaches, obviously. A lot of things have to happen in that. We got to get more interceptions. We got to coach it better, but we got to play it better as well.
You had a lot of injuries, and that's part of the game. But also, I know on Friday you had some fluky things as well. Will you reevaluate maybe how you're doing practices, or you know, some of the treatment approaches or stretching or anything like that? Does that go into your off-season kind of evaluations?
Off-season, you reevaluate everything. I mean, there's nothing that goes unturned in the off-season. Again, it's too early to say everything that we're going to evaluate, but we're going to evaluate everything.
Todd, just curious off the top of your head if there's anyone on this team that you think took the biggest stride this year.
I really like where Luke Gedeke played. I like the way he came back this year and played, even after he got hurt with the concussion. He came back and he played. He made a lot of strides this season as well. Thought Christian Izzian, before he got hurt, made great strides and did a lot of things well. There's a few guys that made strides like that, but those two stand out.
What has Levante David just meant to you and this franchise in general?
Personally, we've gotten very close over the years I've been here. He's a coach on the field. He's our captain. He's a leader. He's a heck of a person off the field. He's our bell cow. When things go wrong, he'll fix it from a mental standpoint in the locker room. He gets everybody lined up in the right plays. He understands the game as well as making a ton of plays himself. He's meant everything to me as well as our coaching staff and the players in this building.
Do you have any information on his injury at the end of the game? What kind of significant?
Not at this time. He was walking pretty good today. Again, he's not running, so I don't know. I haven't gotten to the training room yet.
Todd, with Liam Cohen scheduled to enter with the Jaguars, is there anything you say to him, maybe advice you gave him, or anything you say to him to maybe try to get him to run it back? What was that conversation like?
I mean, we've had a conversation. Me and Liam were very close. We have these type of conversations, what to expect from an interview and everything else. At least you know you're picking the right guy, and we'll see what happens going forward from there. But You know, if they're not talking about you guys for interviews, then you're probably not doing it right.
Coach, you only had 7 possessions yesterday on offense. You can see the way the game is going, and even going back to I think you had 4 walk-off losses. Kansas City, you go for 2. Do you think about being more aggressive the way a lot of these teams are being, especially in a game where you kind of pick your poison, right? It's a slow death or a quick one, but you're down there 4th and 2, you kick the field goal to tie the game. Just take me through the mentality of that and just not, if you believe in your defense and you don't get it, they got the ball inside the 10-yard line.
It was 3rd and 1, obviously. We get the penalty. We go backwards. It was 4th and 3. And it's not like we shot ourselves in the foot a few times on that drive, so it was easier to tie the ball game in that category. If we were moving the ball at ease and get down there every single time, we probably would have went for it. But at the time, we were going for it. We had it 3rd and 1. We thought we had two downs to get 1 yard. We didn't get it. We went backwards, and it was 2017. If we don't get that, we possibly lose the ball game. So at least we had a tie and try to get the defense to get the ball back.
How much was their aggressiveness on 4th down? It's who they've been all year. But how much did that make it harder for you as a defense because you had to stop them on 4 downs and not 3?
It wasn't harder. We knew they were going to do it. We were prepared for it. He out-athleted us on a few plays, and that's a credit to him.
Coach, you had a lot of young players get significant playing time this season. How's that going to serve you going into the offseason?
It helps only if they help themselves get better. The concentration part, them working out in the off-season, coming back in shape, and being prepared will help us a great deal next year.
You can't prepare for injuries, and you guys did your best with getting depth at key positions that have been impacted before this season. But what do you do moving forward to try to prepare for injury again?
Well, you try to prepare for it. Me and Jason will sit down and talk about it, how we want to approach the off-season, and the practice squad has a big part to do with it, whether it's all rookies, whether it's a mix of rookies and vets, what we're able to get, what we're able to see, and those type of things. So we'll sit down and talk about it, and it'll be a long conversation.
The last time Chris got home was in a contract year. He was coming off a torn ACL. This franchise showed faith in him, and he rewarded that faith with stellar play when he came back from that injury. He's entering the same situation as a free agent coming off of an injury. Does that evidence that you've seen from Chris's rehab and the ability to come back, does that help you guys make a decision towards possibly re-signing him this offseason?
Well, he's an outstanding player. If we can sign him back at all, I'd love to have him back here. Don't know the significance yet of how long he'll be out and how he'll recover, but we'd definitely like to have him back.
Coach, Shaq played 4 or 5 snaps last night. And ultimately, was he just not ready to play coming back?
Oh, you miss a whole season and you come back, 2 weeks aren't going to get you ready. And the scheme has changed some since he's played, and trying to put him in and do the things he could do interfere with the rest of the calls of the defense. So we were bringing him along slowly and making sure he was in shape. We didn't want him to go out there and get hurt, but hopefully he has a future for us next year.
Deion Jones, we saw more of him on defense this last night. Obviously he's a guy that brings experience, has been to the Pro Bowl before. I mean, did you like what you saw him out of there last night? Is it possible that he has a future with this team?
Small sample size, like what we saw. He's very athletic. He's very good in the pass game right there. He tackled okay. He did some things well. Like to see more of him, so we'll see what the future holds, but he's a guy, in hindsight, I would like to have back.
Todd, I know you got the draft, you got free agency. What would be the top priority for you? Would it be edge rusher to make this team better, if you have at the top?
A little early right now for that. Again, we haven't sat down and evaluated everything and gone over everything to see what we would have at the top. Just fresh off a game right there, playoff loss. It's going to be a couple weeks before we make that decision.
What about the push that you were getting up the middle, like he was talking about, maybe a little more to be desired out of the edge rusher position, but those, Vita and Kalijah, they were giving you a lot up the middle. Just what can you say about those 2 guys this year?
They played well all year, and Logan's included in that. I thought Logan had a heck of a year as well. I thought the interior 3 did a heck of a job pushing the pocket all year long.
What surprised you the most this year?
Excuse me?
What surprised you the most this year with their play?
I don't know if it's a surprise, but I think guys played well. I like the steadiness that Graham Barton showed as a rookie and playing one of the toughest spots on the field, going against almost a Pro Bowler every week, just doing his job and coming to work every day with a lunch pail attitude and making blitz adjustments and stun adjustments aren't easy for a first-year center.
Todd, I know injuries are a big part of this, but with the personnel that you had defensively speaking throughout the year and how much you had to shape shift, just how much were you able to deploy the defense that you wanted to do week in, week out that maybe you thought you were going to have entering the season?
I don't know. It changed so much. It's not about deploying the defense. It's about executing what we call. I thought those guys, for the most part, did a good job of coming in and executing what we called, what they can do well. And that was the defense we were going to play. And we had a chance to be successful if they executed the defense. And they did a good job after the bye week coming in and doing that. And I was proud of them for that.
What about K1 Merriweather? Down the stretch, we saw a lot more of him. And he was a guy that, at one point in the season, he was cut.
When he came back after we let him go, when he came back from Detroit's practice squad, he had a very professional attitude. He studied. You hardly talked about him making mental errors and everything else, and he became one of our better safeties from the second half of the season on. I'm very proud of the job he did. I told him that earlier this week. The attitude he came back with, the professionalism, the way he played. He can play free or strong at the drop of a hat with guys going down. He was moving from one to the other, and he never flinched, and I'm very proud of him for that. He was one guy that I could hardly say his name on film that had a mental error.
It doesn't matter the record necessarily, but it's hard to win 3 division titles in a row, period, right? But then you get in the postseason, and pretty soon you're going to be judged on your postseason success. So what do you think the next step is to get these guys to, if you're able to get back in this position to win in the postseason? Is it luck with injuries? Is it just, what will it take for you guys to advance?
It won't be injuries. It's doing the little things right. Not turning the ball over, getting off the field on third down. Those are the little things that happened all year that came up at the end. We had a good stretch defensively of playing third downs. Didn't play them well last night. They got the turnover in the plus territory inside the red zone right there. It won't take injuries because people go to playoffs with injuries all the time. That's not even a factor. So we just got to do the little things right when we get there.
Todd, on your side of the ball, looking at the season as a whole on defense, what did you like best about your defense, and what did you like?
Starting the season, I thought we were fast starting the season. We got banged up pretty early. And we made some routine plays look hard, and I didn't like that about it. That will probably eat at me the whole off season.
I know it's hard to evaluate this the morning after a season-ending loss, but I mean, this is a team that had external expectations that weren't necessarily that high, and internal expectations probably were higher. You're a team that overachieved and also disappointed. How do you frame this season for you?
Not like you just framed it. We're not going to overachieve and disappoint. We underachieved as far as ourselves are concerned. We don't worry about external expectations. Our internal expectations are for us to go to the Super Bowl, injury or regardless. Our internal expectations are to go to the Super Bowl. We did not get that accomplished. We did some good things throughout the year, yes. We had guys injured, yes. We got to the playoffs, yes. But our expectations are to win the Super Bowl.
Coach, Tanky started off as a big playmaker for you, and then last 5 games you didn't really make those big plays. Was it just a rookie wall, or do you feel there's something else going on?
No, he got banged up, and he missed some time. He got banged up. He was playing with a knee, and when he came back, he made the plays he was supposed to make. I mean, he set the edge. He did some good things, and he's one of our best players on defense. He didn't hit a rookie wall at the end of the year. They started going away from him some, and he started being a non-factor because the ball wasn't showing up, but he did everything he was supposed to do.
This offseason, you guys have made a coaching change at the tight end position. Just what did you see out of that group in terms of growth? I mean, that's like your youngest position group on your whole roster.
They were one of the groups that had the fewest mental errors during the season as well. Coach Peel done a great job getting Cade ready, getting Payne ready, getting Culp ready, having Cole available, using different type of guys to do what they do best.
Todd, what did you learn about yourself maybe through this year, maybe the biggest takeaway as you enter the offseason?
I think the older I get, the more I learn. When you stop learning, you stop growing. And you start understanding things more, and you see things quicker, obviously. And you just got to keep growing. And what you see as a coach isn't what they always see as a player. So you have to constantly think about that with the idea in your head and then the idea of what they can actually do. So that never stops as a coach. And, you know, you constantly go through that. And with all the different bodies putting in there during the year, that forces you to go outside your box and your normal deal, which is a good thing because it helps you keep coaching fresh. It's not a good thing they get hurt, but it's a good thing that you try to adjust and keep you on your toes, and that's what coaching is all about. It's not about coaching the best players all the time. It's about coaching what you have and making it work and still being a good coach. And we got a lot of guys on the staff that's done that this year.
Coach, after reviewing last night, knowing you lost all 4 night games, do you feel there's any connection at all, or that's just coincidence?
I think we should have every game at 1 o'clock.
What about,
Last
you
one.
mentioned growth, how much of that, like, is, I mean, because I know in the off-season, you're a human being, you deserve time to be able to also mentally get away for a little bit if you like, but just how much of that is, I guess, reviewing what you've done and what you've put on tape over the years as a coach, and how much of it is like looking elsewhere and kind of borrowing ideas from certain trends that you're seeing around the league? Like, where does your inspiration kind of come from?
That's a lot. The first thing you do is review everything you've done, to see what they're seeing, to see what you see, to see what you can change. Then you're always looking for fresh ideas, whether it's high school, college, pro, pee-wee ball. You're always looking for fresh ideas, whether it's pressures, whether it's runs, whether it's blocking schemes, whether it's coverages. You're always looking for fresh ideas going forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.